It seemed like the team kind of came out pretty inspired in the second half after maybe not their best defensive effort in the first half. What was the difference? What did you guys kind of talk about at halftime?
Well, we're only going to be as good as we can get defensively, and we settled into a little bit of our rotation. That's one of our biggest struggles probably right now is that we got all these guys and a bunch of guys that missed a lot of practices, so we just never had like a smooth rotation of a certain amount of guys playing together night in and night out yet. We haven't had that. And so these games are when we're trying to figure that out. And that sometimes causes one missing piece or one piece of the puzzle that's not clicking doesn't allow the five out there to click. And so I think we settled into a little bit of a rotation in the second half and kind of found the right guys that guarded, and that got us going offensively. I mean, our offense has been good. We just need consistency on defense and a commitment to our defense, and when we get that, it makes our offense even better.
Anthony said there wasn't much of a halftime speech or anything like that about it, but what did you kind of say at the half, talking about trying to turn that effort around?
Well, we just talked about exactly that, this team's only going to be as good as we defend and as we rebound, and if we don't do those two things, forget it. So we got to have a big focus on that because that's what wins the championships, and that's what makes you a good team. And we have to fly around defensively. We have to make those grit, tough plays that you have to do. We have to understand scouting reports and what the guys we play against, what their strengths and weaknesses are. And if we don't do that, we're not going to be any good. But we can also, as we settle into the rotation of what we have, that's going to help this team.
Anthony and James scored 22 each, but you also had three other guys getting double figures. I mean, as a coach, to see so many guys getting involved, it's probably exactly what you were hoping for.
Yeah, and we do. We have a lot of weapons, but the thing that I told these guys, and that these guys have to understand, we'll play five guys in the guard, and until other guys get on the bus and decide to guard completely, and it's not just you gotta know the scouting play, you gotta know what you're doing, know how we're doing it, because we make adjustments in the game some, and they got to get on board with that. And when we do, we can be a good team.
Obviously, the game the other day didn't go great. I just see the guys kind of the last couple of days put that behind them or move forward for tonight.
Yeah, you just can't spend any time, being a victim. You gotta adjust how you play. You gotta keep getting better. Like I said, and the biggest thing that we're in right now is, and we're going to be in it for a while, is get better mode. We have to keep getting better, and we have to. I think we got better in the second half tonight, and that was encouraging. We have to get better, a heck of a lot better in these next 2 days, because we're going to play one of the best teams in the country on their home court, and it's not going to get a lot easier.
When you talked about the game plan, their guard got to the line as much as anybody last year, more than anybody, frankly.
100 more than Derek Marks, which is inconceivable.
and tonight did a good job of keeping him away from that, from the line, and being aggressive, but also not drawing the fouls too.
Yeah, and I thought Chandler did a really good job of using his length and understanding, who he was guarding. I told Chandler at shoot around, we were talking about it, and I told him this would be a good matchup for you to test you, and this kid's really crafty, and he told me everybody's a good matchup for me. So I'm glad that he's taking pride in his defense and wanting to guard a crafty player like that, because that guy's a hard guy to guard.
In a little bit of a surprise to at least us, so Wacker gets in there.
Yeah.
No red shirt for him. Talk about the thought
That
process
was,
there.
I've agonized over this decision a lot, but I just felt like something was missing from our team, and that's probably why I agonized over it so much. And what was missing was, David's a smart player, and sometimes the best shots are the shots you don't take, because David doesn't take bad shots, and that enables so those other guys that are Brimmick and Nick and Webby and to get some better looks. He knows our offense inside and out, where those two other they're new to it, and so it's kind of not fair to them to expect them to know it inside and out yet. They're getting there though. But he's our best talker, our best energy guy, and that's kind of what this team needed. And so a lot of sleepless nights about the decision. It's a hard decision to make, but I leave it up to David, and David felt like he could help this team, and he certainly did tonight.
And how's he feeling physically? I know you were hoping to maybe give him a year to get stronger, but he must be feeling
He's
pretty
feeling
good.
so much better because his senior in high school, you know, he was really sick. And so he didn't play healthy that year. And then last year, that shoulder was just hanging. I mean, it popped out. And so it was courageous for him to play last year. But now, this is the first time he's felt better. And, you know, he's feeling stronger and certainly is more confident. And like I said, but he's such a smart player and a good feel for what we do and knows how we do it, that he's really going to help this team.
Coach, one of the hardest things for fans to understand is principal verticality on defense, and it is tough to understand. I know David got called for that, and then you had a conversation with the referee after. Could you explain that role?
Well, I can't explain it very good because I'm trying to tell the ref that he had both hands up and I can only put my hand up that high because of my torn rotator cuff. So I'm doing he's going, yeah, he's got his hand down. And I'm like, no, his hand's up. He can't explain it. So I'm not doing a very good job. And the refs are looking at me like, oh, yeah, that's a bad visual. So that's probably creating the big problems for me. You know, that's a tough thing to officiate. It's so tough because, you know, if you come down on them and the offense is initiating the contact, it's hard to, you know, and it's just bam, bam. So they're supposed to be an imaginary cylinder above your defender, and he can go up and he can go down in that cylinder. And if the offense initiates it, it's supposed to be no call. So, you know, but like I said, that's a tough thing to officiate because, and then you're trying to decide if the defender's moving laterally or if, you know, so there's a lot of moving parts out there. And, you know, I think that it's just some of this stuff we're adjusting to the new rules, and so are the officials. And but our guys are getting there. I mean, I thought we did a good job. We didn't pick up, you know, we picked up stupid fouls and silly fouls, unnecessary fouls. I don't think we had very many of those tonight.
Coach, what did you think of the lift Mikey gave you guys in the first half?
Yeah, Mikey's playing good basketball, and he's got a great demeanor about him always, as he always has. You know, sometimes I'd like him to be a little more fiery, but it's nice to have an even keel point guard that, you know, night in, night out, he's kind of the same. And he's shown that so far. I mean, 17 tonight, again, off 7 shots. And that's the best thing about him, how efficient he's being. You know, 2 for 3 from 3, making his free throws. And then again, he's a guy that passes up the good shot for the great shot for somebody else a lot of times.
You broke off a 20-2 run there during the second half. During that stretch, you know, just to have, you know, you're going to have those this year. Just to have that first one, because you weren't able to get that quite going against Montana, but just be able to get a run like that.
Yeah, again, and that goes back to our defense. Those runs start with stops. You know, we were playing pretty decent offense the first half, shooting 52%. But when you're just trading baskets, then it's hard to make a run.
Just James, I mean, is he more athletic? Is that possible this year than he was last year?
Well, I think he's just getting more and more skilled, and so he's able, like, we can drop, you know, Coach Linder did a great job of out of the timeout where he faked off the ball screen and went in and dunked it. And, you know, that's just, he's getting a little more skilled, a little more, you know, we can do more things with him like that. And then our guys are more comfortable with him to throw the lob. And, you know, Paris can throw lobs, and I think Drimmick threw the one tonight. And so they trust his athleticism, and they trust he'll go catch it.
One more on